two things you want to get into. You want to get into crypto and you want to get into AI because they are the future. Do not sleep. Keep your mind updated because you do not want to stay behind on the same old pattern, thinking life is moving forward with the same old pattern. There's a brand new world in the front of you. So it's very important to do your research to stay ahead. Okay, guys? Because listen, if you're part of my channel, if you're already subscribed and you've been watching my videos, I cannot leave you guys behind. I gotta stay updated with you guys. I gotta give you guys good information because at the end of the day, your future depends on it. So we're not going to talk about crypto in this video. What we're going to talk about, Neuralink. Very important. I'm going to play a little clip for you to understand what I'm going to talk about. So watch the clip and I'm going to explain everything to you guys after, okay?
So that's those are neurons firing. It's funny to think that me talking right now is a bunch of neurons firing that then result in speech that you hear and cause neurons to fire in your brain. It is a remarkable organ. I mean, we are the brain, basically. When you say you, that really is, you're the brain. Like you can get a heart transplant, you can get a kidney transplant, but I don't know anyone who's gotten a brain transplant. So you are your brain, and your experiences are these neurons firing with trillions of synapses. That somehow lead to conscious comprehension of the world. This is something that we have only begun to understand. We're really just barely at the beginning of understanding of what is the nature of consciousness. But with Neuralink and the progress that the company's making, we'll begin to understand a lot more about consciousness and what does it mean to be. Along the way, we're going to solve a lot of brain issues where the brains get injured or damaged in some way or didn't develop in quite the right way. But there's a lot of brain and spine injuries that we'll solve along the way. And I do want to emphasize that this is all going to happen quite slowly, meaning you'll see it coming. Sometimes people think that suddenly there will be vast numbers of Neuralinks all over the place. This is not going to be sudden. You'll be able to watch it happen, over the course of several years. So what we're creating here with a Neuralink device is a generalized input-output technology for the brain. So it's how do you get information into or out of the brain, and do so in a way that does not damage the brain or cause any negative side effects. Now, the input to the brain is much higher especially because of vision. Depending upon how you count it, it might be on the order of a megabit or in the megabit range for input, primarily due to sight. But even for input, we think that can be dramatically increased to the gigabit plus level. And a lot of the thinking that we do is we take a concept in our mind and we compress that into a small number of symbols. So when you're trying to communicate with somebody else, you're actually trying to model their mind state, and then take perhaps quite a complex idea that you have, maybe even a complex image or scene or kind of mental video, and try to compress that into a few words or a few keystrokes. And it's necessarily going to be very lossy. Your ability to communicate is very limited by how fast you can talk and how fast you can type. And what we're talking about is unlocking that potential to enable you to communicate, like I said, thousands, perhaps millions of times faster than is currently possible. This is an incredibly profound breakthrough. This would be a fundamental change to what it means to be a human. So enabling, our first product is called telepathy, and that enables someone who has lost the ability to command their body to be able to communicate with a computer and move the mouse and actually operate a computer with roughly the same dexterity, ultimately much more dexterity than a human with working hands. Then our next product is BlindSight, which will enable those who have total loss of vision, including if they've lost their eyes or the optic nerve, or maybe have never seen, were blind, even blind from birth, to be able to see again. Initially low resolution, but ultimately very high resolution, and then in multiple wavelengths. So you could be like Geordi LaForge in Star Trek, and you can see in radar, you can see in infrared, ultraviolet, superhuman capabilities, cybernetic enhancement, essentially. And then along the way, this should help us understand a lot more about consciousness. What does it mean to be a conscious creature? We'll understand vastly more about the nature of consciousness as a result of this. And then ultimately, I think this helps mitigate the civilizational risk of artificial intelligence. We already sort of have 3 layers of thinking. There's the limbic system, which is your instincts, your cortical system, which is your higher level planning and thinking, and then the tertiary layer, which is the computers and machines that you interact with, like your phone, all the applications you use. So people actually are already a cyborg. You can maybe have an intuitive sense for this by how much you miss your phone if you leave it behind. Leaving your phone behind is it's almost like missing limb syndrome. Your phone is somewhat of an extension of yourself, as is your computer. So you already have this digital tertiary layer, but the bandwidth between your cortex and your digital tertiary layer is limited by speech and by how fast you can move your fingers and how fast you can consume information visually. So, but I think it's actually very important for us to address that input-output bandwidth constraint in order for the collective will of humanity to match the will of artificial intelligence.
All right, we have everyone together.
What's up, guys?
Thanks, everybody, for joining. Definitely want to introduce all of you.
Yeah, I'm Nolan, aka P1.
My name's Alex. I am the second participant in the Neuralink study.
I am Brad Smith, the ALS Cyborg P3.
My name is Mike, G4, have ALS like Brad does.
Yeah, I'm RJ. I'm P5. And I guess I'm kind of the newest one to the team here. So, yeah, appreciate it, Nolan. Trailblazer. Somebody's got to go first, man. That was you. Appreciate that.
What's been your favorite thing you've been able to do with the Neuralink so far?
I've just had a good time being able to use it as I travel, flying and drawing a little mustache on a cat. Had a lot of fun doing that. I mean, I've just had a good time playing around with it. Oh, you know what? I do know what my favorite BCI feature is. Probably not a feature, but I love WebGrid more than I love anything in my life, probably. I think I could play that game nonstop forever.
Has to be Fusion 360. Being able to design parts, design the hat logo with the BCI.
Oh, that's what's up.
Pretty sweet.
That's sweet. Yeah.
Yep. I have a little Arduino that takes input from my quad stick, converts it into a PPM signal to go to a RC truck.
Cool.
Little rock crawler. Well,
Super cool.
with the BCI, I wrote code to drive the plane with the quad stick.
That's awesome.
The best thing I like about Neuralink is being able to continue to provide for my family and continue working.
I think my favorite thing is probably being able to turn on my TV. Yeah, like the first time in 2.5 years, I was able to do that. So it's a pretty sweet move. I like shooting zombies. That's kind of nice. Excited to see what BCI's got going on.
I got a question. What's your shirt say?
It says I do a thing called whatever I want.
What Neuralink is, it's a device, let's say a chip, like a chip they implanted in the brain to give the person the ability to communicate with family members, no problem. Let's say the person can't, paralyzed, they can't use their hands or whatever. So Neuralink allowed them to use let's say the cursor in a mouse or something like that. You see the thing that you see on a computer for you to click. Neuralink allowed them to control it with their mind in order to click using the computer without a problem, using internet without a problem. And when it comes to speech, able to communicate with their family without a problem. It's amazing, guys. Think about it for a second. Someone who can't speak, someone who can't utter a word, can't even open their mouth, but yet they're able to find a way to communicate with their family without a problem. Think about someone who paralyzed, can't even move their body, can't even move their hands to perform certain tasks, but Neuralink allowed them to use their hands, of course, with their mind on computer interface. So you could say it's super, super amazing. But the thing is, we need to go in the mind for you to understand how your mind operates and how you're able to move your hands, how you're able to walk, how you're able to communicate. So, of course, we have to go in the brain in order to understand, and promise I'm going to use everyday language for you to understand. Of course, I'm going to mention a couple words and stuff, couple terminology, and I'll give you guys pure everyday language meaning for you to see where we're going with this, okay? So, you know, the brain is not just one brain. There's so many different parts, and they all have different function. You know, the way to think of it is input and output. And also you have to think of it as like turn on, turn off. So one part can turn on to perform certain task or some sort of output or something, and one part can turn off. It's just not, I can't use the word not working, but it's just turn off. When you turn off the light, it's dark. And when you turn on the light, it's bright, right? So it's the way to think of it. So now, the speech part, the reason you're able to understand me, it's because there's a part in the brain allow you to understand what I'm saying, allow you to understand language for you, allow you to process exactly what I'm saying. And the reason I'm able to communicate, or the reason you're able to communicate, is because a part of the brain allow you to say the word, allow you to open your mouth. Different parts, not just one brain or one part, okay? So they all different function, but the way they communicate, guys, fluently, you could say, I always say, like a band, instrument. You playing piano, one playing guitar, and able to play music, okay? So it's the way to think of it. So now the area where, let's say, we process information called let's go on the board. We need to go on the board in order to see exactly what I'm talking about. So the area in the brain where we're able to process information called Wernicke's area, okay? So it's the section there. Where is it? 1 second. So it's called Wernicke's area, guys. It's where we process information. It's where we take information, like language, and we able to process it to understand what the person is saying. Now, the area where that allow us to say words or speech, send, you can say waves or something, called Broca's area. It's a whole different section, guys. The Broca's area mainly in the frontal cortex of the brain, okay? The front of the brain where you're able to, let's say, make decision and think carefully, or let's say the decision making of the brain is where you control the rest of the brain. The rest of the brain, like let's say the limbic structure, it's a whole different world. You do not have access. It's the reason we don't have access to the unconscious part of the brain, right? Like the subconscious. But the frontal section, it's who we are. It's what makes us us. Without it, we will just be navigating on the, what do you call it, our instincts, like the sexual instinct, hunger, just the basic stuff that, you know, we don't really have to, you could say, make us who we are, the core function, okay? Because we can't live without sex, and we can't live without food. We can't live without water. The minute you're hungry, you need food. The minute you need to reproduce, you need sex. So they're part of the subconscious. You don't really have control over them, to be quite honest. But the frontal section of the brain is where you're able to control and make decision. Is the reason, again, self-control is extremely, extremely important. Okay? So now, remember, Wernicke's area allow you to process information, and Broca's area allow you to send. Is basically, you could say the Wernicke's area receive information and process it. You can say input, okay? And the Broca's area output allow you to send information, okay? So keep in mind, words trigger thoughts, words trigger emotion, words trigger behavior. So language play a huge role in our lives, guys. A freaking huge role. Keep in mind, without language, without the capable to, let's say, speak, you're looking at a major, major problem, okay? So let's say the Wernicke's area is damaged. They call it receptive aphasia, okay? Keep that in mind, receptive aphasia, okay? Aphasia basically means without speech. So the Broca's area called expressive aphasia basically means can't express speech, can't send speech, or you could say the Wernicke's area can't receive speech. Okay? Input, cannot take that input. So without speech, okay? So it's something you have to keep in mind. So when you go with the Neuralink, the reason they're able to, let's say, give the guy the ability to speak or to move the cursor or whatever, because nothing wrong with the Wernicke's area and nothing wrong with the Broca's area. The only thing wrong, something wrong in the motor section of the brain. He can't send signal to the body to move the lips, to move any part of the body because he's paralyzed, right? So the reason I'm moving my hand right now and I'm moving my mouth is because of the motor cortex. The motor cortex play a huge role in our lives, guys, and it mapped out every movement when it comes to hands, mouth, the lips, everything you can move. It's because of the motor section, guys. Without the motor section, you basically can't do anything, okay? Because you have motor neuron, and sensory neuron. Motor cells and sensory cells. Motor cells send signal to the body for you to contract the muscles to make some sort of movement. You get where I'm going with this. So now, for Neuralink to, let's say, get them to move their hands or something, they would have to be able to go in the body to do some sort of surgery to restructure the whole neurons. And they would have to put like robotic arms, like all kinds of robotic stuff for the person to be able to walk, to move. But the only thing they could do is stay in the mind. Very important to understand what I'm saying here. They only can stay in the mind, and they're able to, let's say, put the chip in the motor section of the brain. So when they put the chip in the motor section of the brain, what happened? I want you to imagine something, actually. I want you to imagine, let's say you're in your head. You can hear your family having a conversation, everyone having a conversation around you. You're able to understand what they're saying, and you want to speak. You want to say, you want to respond. You want to be part of the conversation. But the only problem, you cannot open your mouth to say any word. You cannot say anything. You live in your head. So no one can hear you. No one can understand. Well, if they can't hear you, therefore, there's no point of saying, oh, they can't understand you. All right? So do you know how uncomfortable it would feel to have your loved ones around you? They're having a conversation. You want to be part of the conversation. You understand exactly what they're saying, but yet you cannot respond. It's because of the motor structure. If it was the Broca's area, let's say damage, he would be able to make sound wave. He would be able to open the mouth, but the person wouldn't be able to make sense because the speech structure damage. Let's say if it's the Wernicke's area damage, he just wouldn't be able to understand the words. But that's it. So now the fact that they plug in the Neuralink in the motor section, the person, every time the person used the Broca's area to construct, let's say, language, speech, or whatever, it goes straight to the computer and the AI able to translate it and artificial sound, of course. Then it's like him using his mind to speak and the computer just send out whatever he want to say. Let's say someone can't use their arm, like paralyzed. They're able to use the computer. They're able to type without a problem, just thinking about what they want to say. The computer automatically gonna type whatever they're thinking about because of the motor section of the brain. Don't you think it's amazing? Think about where you're going in the future, guys. It's the reason I'm saying you gotta get into AI as soon as possible. You have to get into crypto as soon as possible because the way they're moving, they're not looking back. They're moving forward fast. So it's the reason you have to stay updated for you to at least structure yourself to have a better opportunity because the old world, the world you used to know, no longer around. And I'm telling you, the world gonna move in the front of your face, and it's when everyone already or stable already in the game, is when most people gonna realize like, yo, holy shit, there's a new world in the front of me and I don't even understand it. It's the reason you have to stay ahead. You have to stay updated for you to stay ahead. Okay, guys? So do your research, watch the full videos of like Neuralink, and you will see the amazing thing that they're able to do. Okay, guys? So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button for more great content. If you have anything to say, let it out in the comment section. See you next time. Ciao.